Yeah, 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 yeah. You're now tuned into the one and only place where you can get what's needed on your plate, along with what's going on in your hood. Candy Lady's gonna keep you up to date with events going on round your way. What's really good? SC by Black locally, keep them dollars circulating in your own community. It's the SCBBL show. You're now tuned into the SCBBL show. Rock on. Rock on.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the SCBBL show, episode number 8. Tonight, I am super excited because we are here with the lady behind the Mrs. Shana Gourdine. Now, when you see her name, I said Shana, but I learned tonight that it's Shana Gourdine. Hey, Shana.
Hey, how are you?
I am doing well. So, the lady behind the mask, I love that. I love that theme. And your movement is called the unmasking, right?
Well, the movement is about unmasking and also loving yourself.
Loving on yourself. So do you want to tell the viewers on tonight a little bit about yourself and how did you get to that point?
Well, a little about
taking off the veil.
A little about me is I'm originally from Cross, South Carolina, but now I reside 18 years in New York. Wow. Also, I have 2 beautiful girls. I got my BA at Morris College in Sumter, South Carolina, in psychology. Now I started unveiling my mask because I went through domestic violence in 2012. So it's like to carry that massive domestic violence. And then I also have chronic illnesses that you would never know I have unless I tell you about it. To take those steps to that, it was a process. And I took it because I needed to do it for my kids. And I needed to learn to love on myself. So it was the best thing I did for me and for them.
Wow. I'm glad you said that because domestic violence is like really high, especially in South Carolina. What are some of the things that you've learned from that experience? Because that's a very traumatic experience for anyone. And I don't know if your kids were exposed to that or any of that nature, but what are some of the things that you learned from going through that experience?
Well, a few things I've learned from the experience is like learning not to settle for certain things and don't let your self-esteem be the reason why you're comfortable in a relationship. Learning not to let your fear be the reason why you stay. And we are blind to love a lot of times. And you got to see the signs. There's signs that come out that we ignore because we feel that, oh, it's going to get better, or they're going to change, or the stories really mean what it is, or the gifts to make it better. And some people stay because of money or comfortability, and they just like, oh God, what am I going to do? I'm in this relationship and I don't have nowhere to go, but it's actually help out there and you're not alone by yourself.
Wow. What was your turning point? Like, what caused you to say, okay, enough is enough? What was that turning point?
My turning point was definitely just, I finally knew my worth. Like, I was like, I didn't deserve that. And enough is enough. Because once you had enough, you're not gonna tolerate it anymore. And I got tired of settling for the I'm sorry's and I'm not gonna do it anymore. That just got old.
Yeah. And so you took that experience and you decided that because I went through this, then I'm going to put it out there in a book. Is that what the book is about?
Yeah, the book is poetry and spoken words that I put together for people to learn to love all their imperfections in spite of what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And the reason why I created the book is like, as I went through domestic violence, went through my therapist and, with my kids and everything, I learned that a lot of times, when your kids do go through that, it's traumatizing for them. And they usually sometimes either become an abuser or they then, get in another situation just like you. So one of my turning points was like, one, I got to definitely change the scenario. Don't want my kids to go down that same lane. Then 2, I needed to be better for myself and speak out for the women or the men that don't speak out for themselves. because a lot of us stay quiet because they're too ashamed or they're too embarrassed, so they don't want nobody to know what's going on. But at the end of the day, if you don't say nothing, you're going to continue just hurting yourself.
I'm glad you even mentioned men, because most of the time when you think of domestic violence, you think of just the battered woman. You hardly ever think of the male figure going through domestic violence. So that's like a eye opener in and of itself for me. So like you said, the book isn't specifically about your personal experience. It's more so about what you learned from that experience and like affirmations of how turn that around. How do you start loving on yourself first so that you maybe won't go down the same road of settling for someone who can't see your worth?
Exactly.
Awesome. So with the book, how can people get it?
Well, it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Nobles, it's on Walmart, it's on all platforms. And then you also can contact me for a soft cover copy as well. And I did a book signing, so out here in Shore, New York. So it's a few that is in our Barnes and Nobles out here as well. So those are the platforms that you can find on.
What did like? I'm oriented, so I always like to learn about other people's business experience. So with publishing your book, what are some tips for self-publishers, or did you go with a major publishing company? What was that process like for you?
Well, my process was I actually did self-publishing, but I actually worked with like a company that helped me put it on all platforms. But I learned a lot of different things as well, that you can put it on yourself and learn to save yourself a lot of different amounts of money than paying all these people to do it for yourself. I learned, how to market myself instead of waiting on someone else to market me. I learned how to brand myself. I learned how to create my own buzz, I guess you call it. That's where the lady behind the mask came from, because I was actually on a podcast interview, and the radio station owner that happened to see me on the TV news was like, "Oh my God, that's the lady behind the mask. She's going to be on our show tomorrow." And so the guy that was interviewing me, then we talked about it. I was like, "Oh, well, that's going to be my name, the lady behind the mask," because I talk about how people carry masks and how they are, learning not to hide behind a mask. So I learned how to do a lot of different business things publishing my book. You got to learn how to market yourself. You got to figure out what's going to catch the crowd. You got to learn what crowd and audience you're talking to. It's definitely a whole process behind it.
Yes. So is there any other movements or any other virtual things or anything in general that you have going on for the rest of 2020 that you want to tell people about?
Listen, I have a film that's actually coming out, and it's a documentary film. It's called Through Your Eyes. It'll be out in October. That's more talking about survival stories of people through their eyes, explaining their survival story. Wow. I also am gonna be co-hosting a marathon in October with this lady named Angela Thomas Smith, which is virtual. I'll be on from 4 to 8 with about my eight of my own guesses. I do a podcast every Friday as well. I'm actually doing with my podcast host. We're doing a women empowerment event in November. We have about 22 women that's going to talk about all their different walks of life and how they are empowering and how to inspire other people with the movements they have. I'm also, what else do I have on my list? I have a lot. But keeping busy. Book 2 about to be out. I am actually, that's in editing right now, hoping that might be out in November. Not sure yet, but I will put it on the platform when it's coming soon. But I keep busy, and my kids keep me busy. So I do it for them, to make a lane for them to then have a different status of life.
That's awesome. Do you have a page or something where people can follow the different events and, different things that you have going on?
Yes, I have a website, which is www.theladybehindthemask.com. Then I also have my Shana Gourdine author page. I have the Shana Unmasking Motivation page. You can always reach me on the rundown. And we also created, me and another business partner of mine, we created a platform called the Author Networking Group. So whereas we offer network authors networking and a way to promote themselves as well. Oh yeah.
You're keeping busy.
I have to, with this and COVID, you got to keep yourself relevant. You got to keep yourself moving, and you got to keep yourself out there advertising. And also, actually, I have a radio interview in Atlanta soon, and then I have another podcast interview tomorrow.
Awesome. That's what I'm talking about. So do your kids get to see you, and how do they feel about their mommy being an author like that?
Well, with them, it was real interesting when they first seen my book, because they had the Amazon Fire tablet, and the book popped up on their tablet. So they came in on this like, "Oh my God, Mom, your book's on the tablet." Then from there, them just seeing me on the news and doing all the podcast shows, and then the own events that I created, they're like, "Mom, you're a celebrity." And at first I'm like, "Oh," and they were like, "Yes, you are, Mom. Everybody wants you. Everybody wants your book. Everybody wants to talk to you. You're a celebrity." And I was like, "You know what? You're right. I am. Let me claim it. I ain't even gonna say no to that no more. So I'd rather be a celebrity in their eyes, and eventually to the whole world. We'll take it there."
Definitely. Well, this is awesome, Shana. I don't know if you have anything else that, from your experience, if you wanted to give any words of encouragement to other men, women, or anybody in general who have probably survived a domestic violence situation, and now that they're out of it, or somebody who's probably currently going through it and nobody knows about it. What are some of the things that you would advise them to do?
Well, the first thing I would definitely advise them to make sure they ready to not be there anymore. Because a lot of times we say we don't be there and you end up going back because you're not ready to let it go. Two, like I said, you're not alone. So there are programs out there that is willing to help you save you and the kids, and remove you. Like, you're not alone. And there's a lot of people that don't talk about it. It's not okay to be loved like that. Love ain't supposed to hurt. So if it's hurting and it don't feel right, and your gut feeling that it ain't okay, it isn't okay. So reach out to somebody, talk to somebody, and figure out how to not be in that situation anymore. And honestly, you hold the power. You have the confidence to do what you want to do. It's just a lot of times we get verbally, emotionally, and mentally abused, and it takes our power away. And if you got the power, all you got to do is take it back.
Wow. Powerful. So I couldn't say it better myself, and if you want to learn how to love yourself better before you even get into a situation like that, before you get into another relationship, then visit Shana's website so that you can get the book and start reading some of those affirmations about how you need to be loving on yourself before you can even allow anyone else to love on you.
Right.
Well, Shana, it has been a pleasure, and I appreciate you coming on SDBBL and telling everybody about your book, about your experience, and all the things that you have coming up in the future. And we wish you nothing but the best.
And I appreciate for having me on and giving me the platform to tell everybody about how to love themselves.
Yep. So all of our cross natives, make sure that you support your own, get the book, leave some reviews, share and spread the word. Yes. All right. So it has been your girl Candace from South Carolina by Black Locally, and Shana Gourdine of The Lady Behind the Mask. All right. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
SDBBL show. Rock on.